for your bitch. Man, she probably on me. Catch me in that Benz truck. It cost a lot of money. I done took a couple wheels. I lost a lot of money. Put that
Ze hem zo says.
You can make a lot of money. You can catch a lot of shells. Fucking with a nigga money. Probably strapped riding dirty, but my whip clean. Got your bitch watching me like a big screen. They call me hood rich. I got a lot of money, and I can never see myself running out of money. See this watch a nigga rockin', cost a lot of money. See this chain a nigga rockin', cost a lot of money. See this whip a nigga driving, cost a lot of money. It cost a lot of money. I got a lot of money. See this watch a nigga rockin', cost a lot of money. See this chain a nigga rockin', cost a lot of money. See this whip a nigga driving, cost a lot of money. It cost a lot of money. I got a lot of money. You see the fast comment, it costs a lot of money. Louis V on my belt, it costs a lot of money. Montana name ringing.
We got chicken, we got 100. I've been looking for a drill.
No.
Oh yeah.
On a tent?
No. Yeah.
PowerPod, one battery powering multiple brands. Only at Canadian Tire.
No!
Yes.
We haven't checked up on JT in a while. It used to be that JTF, Jordan Tower Films, and then now it's Justin Trudeau. Go ask that JTF. He's down in Atlanta, Georgia. How much I used to pester him when I was learning how to do videos. Quite a bit. I think he's even got a video that Jordan Tower said, "Oh, StacksAMilli's the most annoying kid." But if it wasn't for JTF, and what about, well, we're not talking about JTF, we're talking about Justin. Here's the Pope. He's in a wheelchair on July 28th, just last month. Justin's looking good. I've seen the haircut. I thought he had even a different coloring in his hair. Let's see. You can see here that even in Canada, we have the Prime Minister has some sort of some sort of secret service. Now I don't know what they call them. The Prime Minister's agents, private security. Well, it's more than a private security. It's a whole one, just like the Secret Service. You got him meeting farmers. You got more pictures. So he's been doing a lot. Yeah, I was thinking about the universities too, and I was thinking about London, Ontario, how great that town is. or sorry, that city, that big city of London, Ontario, how lucky the kids are when you're there. You're not going to be maybe in London. You think you're going to be in London forever, your whole life, but then it's such a great university city. Or sorry, such a great university. There's a couple of universities there. So enjoy your time when you're at university with that whole thing in London. I got to see a lot of that Western University stuff. I even got to the city bus in London rides right through the university. So that's a whole tour. I didn't have a camera then. This was when I was doing my worst. But at my worst, I was still riding on the bus over in London, Ontario. And the bus goes right through the whole campus. And that was such a great experience. London Transit. And for a good amount of time, when I was in London, if everybody remembers, well, maybe you don't if you weren't in London, the transit was free during COVID-19. Everybody was on the buses. You could ride it for free, and I got to ride it for free, so that was great. Met multiple times. I learned the whole Wellington North and South. I got to go to both malls, White Oaks and the other, Masonville. All with that bus. Because I didn't even know how to get around London. This was back before I even knew some of the main streets that I would go up and down. You know. But now I don't live in London. And there was a man that was pestering me in London, but he was charged. I've found out, which is a good thing and an unfortunate thing because I hate for people to end up getting charged. But you don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about, hey, like I said, I go north and south Wellington, and I go on Dundas, and there was a man that maybe would have found out those routes that I take, but that man's been formally charged. I was there when he came to my hotel room, and then the police, we made contact. And then there was the arrest on that one man. Or it was an unfortunate situation. He was a Brantford man, and he happens to be a big fan, and now it's all turned out. We're starting to iron it all out, except for the one charges. But other than, he's learning a lot. He attempted to buy drugs or something like that from the controlled purchase website that I created. And mainly this website, it doesn't usually get any local people. But this was the first time that I got to see the system work, like actually directly in front of me. So he made this controlled purchase, and then we stung him for it under the law of private law enforcement entity. So I had the money I invested to make this private law enforcement entity. So just like a private prison or a private jail or a private police force or anything like that, there isn't many private police forces. The sheriff's offices actually started out originally as private police forces down in the United States, and they became legal because they worked with the federal government. So my private law enforcement entity works with both. It works with all federal governments in the world because under all federal governments, all the drugs are illegal except for marijuana. It's been legalized in Canada, but all other drugs I think it's except one country in all of the world where the drugs are completely illegal. We don't want the heroin, the crack cocaine, the cocaine, and all that. And that was what that was designed to stop. And no, but it was. I seen the yeah no. So when I this goes back. This was when I became to be sort of a full out agent, to know sort of my place in what I created as a man under this economy. And it's had its history, and it will continue to have its history, and it's got a lot of support from some real officials, being U.S. Marines, U.S. Army. They stand by it. There's police all over the from Canada to the United States and all around the world that'll attest to, hey, that guy's website's pretty good. I'll vouch for it, that it's a private law enforcement entity. It goes with the law. It helps the police. It takes the money out of the hands. But here's the thing. It cripples the crime to where that the police can make their arrest. Like, some of these people were people that were unstoppable in crime. And my website crippled them to the point where our officers can legally bring justice. And that's what it's done. But other than that, it's not an aggressive website. It really just sits there and doesn't. It's really something that other people go on to pester most of the time, other than if I'm doing later on, maybe I do the advertisement, but not anytime soon. Right now, I'm not focused on that. I'm more focused on these videos. The awareness, the drug awareness, the police, community outreach, and awareness. Yeah, there's been a few. Yeah, there's been some times where the system, we've had, the police, they take care of it. That's not my job. It's a separate job. I only merely am sort of this human communication hub where I'm a person just like any normal person, just like these people are, and they go to get groceries and all that. But I don't have any permissions or anything to do anything like they do. So once I gain the information, once I can gain the information with all the proof and facts, the normal police can just make their decisions based upon that. They can, and they choose whether to do that or not to do that all automatically. The FBI and other agencies have direct connection, which that was my whole. I didn't understand that when I had that dream. I didn't know what I wanted to be military, but I didn't want to be deployed. I wanted to be police, but he was a disabled guy, couldn't go on his. So what was I going to do? So then I was like, hey, I'm pretty good at this internet. What do we need on the internet? And there was all these deep webs, and people were overdosing and all that, and worse. And there was that Silk Road, and there was the Alphabet at the time. And the government didn't have an official one that was with the law. It was all ones that were against the police, they were like actually selling dope, actually selling guns. People were getting killed, and it was bad. So Donald Trump came in. This was with Obama. Hey, me and Obama were great too, but we did a separate business. I used to work for this company that did what was it? Leads. And I used to be a teacher, kind of like a professor, and I used to drive leads for insurance companies and all that. This isn't what I'm talking about, but like sales. I used to be in a sales sort of. And then the sales went down. I got sort of lazy with sales. You get sick of sales as much as I love selling. And then I created that law enforcement website, and it's did good. So, but it started out with that story where one of the stories where I got to actually see one of those arrests from my law enforcement website, which is sort of, people see people get arrested all the time, you know, and but it's good to know that the ones that are getting arrested, we know that they were trying to buy. See, the ones that are getting arrested that end up getting arrested off that website, they're trying to buy. There's some bad folks. They were not bad. That guy wasn't bad, but he was trying to buy a lot of cocaine. How much cocaine was he trying to buy, Tom? Like our officers here, people are getting violent over like 1 gram of cocaine. Our officers aren't even finding anything, and this guy tried to buy like 3 ounces of crack cocaine and all that. So the officer was very happy to make that arrest for 3 ounce, a charge for attempting, what's the charge? It would be attempting controlled purchase. It would be controlled purchase over 1 ounce crack cocaine. And that's a good charge. And that's why they get paid, is to like get this bad stuff. I don't want this bad stuff. Nobody wants this stuff on the streets. Okay, generally only the people that want this stuff on the streets are people that are trying to make this bad money, and it's not good for the economy. It's not good for people's safety. And I care. Well, it started with my own safety, but then it was, and it's also about the safety of the community. I didn't want people selling dope around me or whatever, the crack or whatever in my neighborhood. I wasn't into it. If you're into crack, you went to jail and all that. I don't know. Anyways. And then they smoke it in the jail. Yeah, and then they sell it in the jail, and that's what they do in jail. And I learned that when I got to do my 60 days in jail.